Youth sports organizations Greenway Golf and Soccer Without Borders recently teamed up to create a positive and inclusive environment for Bay Area youth to grow through sports. I went to Corica Park Golf Course in Alameda, California for Greenway Golf's free On the Green Youth Summer Camp to see what some of the leading advocates for equity in sports had to say about the obstacles that underprivileged communities in the Bay Area face when it comes to sports.
My name is Ye-Htet Soe. I work for Soccer Without Borders. Currently, I am one of the program managers for the organization. Soccer Without Borders partnered with Corica Park because we believe in the mission of youth development. And if that means through soccer, that's great. But if that also means through golf, that's great too. We are one of the leading members of Sports-Based Youth Development, and we partner with them because we realize this is also an opportunity for our coaches to deliver this type of work through a different kind of landscape. So
I get emotional about this because I've been in this landscape for quite a while, and the inequities in sports is really troubling and concerning. I also sit on a task force called OSEC, Oakland Sports Equity Coalition, and we have a bunch of different people in that organization working on this very thing, how to increase equity in sports. And the data shows that the inequities are very troubling and concerning, and that families are being left out and communities are being left out. And there are multiple reasons for that. But the cost of playing sports, nowadays it seems like you have to pay to be part of an organization or a camp, and a pretty high amount. And then, like, for instance, my daughter, she plays basketball. Not only do you have to pay for her to play, then on the tournaments, anybody who wants to go watch, you have to pay to watch the tournament. And naturally, that is going to eliminate some families who cannot support their kiddo playing. So these costs keep getting higher, and more families keep getting pushed out, and it's only certain economic communities that will be able to afford these sports. And every child should be able to have access to outdoor recreation and sport. And unfortunately, that just isn't the case. Sometimes, like your park district, YMCA, libraries, there's information there for people to find where there are some options available to them that are no cost options, but getting that information is hard. People even knowing that's available to them, the information isn't there. The transportation, again, is a big barrier. So even if somebody says, oh, there's this no cost program over here, how do the families get their kids there? So the gaps are wide and deep, and I'm grateful to be a part of organizations that are trying to solve for those barriers, but it's not an easy fix. And the more I sit in this landscape, the more I am convinced that for deep change, we need, like, national, federal, like, this needs to be implemented on a larger, like, we need to have our nation supporting this initiative, so that everybody can have access.
the way I view it is there's like different levels, right? Like you got ground level where a biggest barrier in general is just transportation. That's just like one of the hardest thing about getting kids to the program is just transportation. Transportation is super hard. Like that's like ground level to like access. When I mean access, like cost and resource. Like people don't know that there's a free golf happening here. Nobody knows, and unless you advertise this in a way in a school district or like in the streets, most parents in immigrant background won't know that something like this exists, right? So how do we break that barrier and try to show and tell families within the community that these sort of programs are happening? And last but not least, I would say is the mindset. Again, I think most immigrants' family, I know for a fact in my family, you don't think about summer as being at a time to go like, hey, let's have our kids go out and play sports, but more like, no, let's have our kids focus on school and get ready for the next school year, right? So this thing, one of the biggest barriers that if families don't have that mindset of like understanding that sports is such a powerful tool for growth, no kids will come here essentially. And so I think there's so many different type of barriers, but I think I think transportation, funding, resources, access. I think all of those are encompassed in this kind of realm, and I think I think those are like the major barriers of this thing.
I always talk about how, especially with this sport and space, it is very transformative because when those kids, let's say they're coming from the concrete jungle, the inner city, and all they can see are the buildings in front of them, and it's a metaphor, like all they can see for their life is like how to get through the day. Like, I just need to make it through this day safely, you know? They can't really see much more beyond their day and their neighborhood. But when they come out here and they stand on the tee box and they look out at the fairway, it's transformative. They see more. They see a future that's bigger and beyond. That fairway is a metaphor, an analogy for where they can go, and particularly because they're standing in a space that is associated with success and business and wealth. It's like now they are transformed. If they can stand in that space and they have access to that, they can do that elsewhere in the world.